Component of self-image. So we discussed that they the very fabric of the European self-image, the very fabric, the very way that they see themselves, right? The things that create the ego, the cultural ego, right? Is that sense of um, again, it comes back to objectifying the world, positioning themselves as a unique species that has the um, that has they can think because other species cannot think, so they can be rational, they can dissect nature, they can dissect the world and extirpate themselves out of the world and look at the world as an object and then study that world or nature in a rational way. If you can do that, then that means you can control that. But the thing is, they are the only one who extirpated themselves out of the world. We, the us, non-European white, remained in that world. So we are part of that world that they can study because we're still primitive. So we're still very connected to nature. We're not, our intelligence is not elevated enough to their level where we can be rational, where we can be scientific. That's why those components here, the rational mind, you know, and most of the time is the man, in ancient Europe, you know. So the components, control and power. So the more rational you are, the more scientific you are, the more male you are, the more civilized you are, the more advanced you are. Because you now, people believe in God say God cannot be within creation because you cannot create something and be inside that thing, which is a weird logic because human beings create airplanes, but it can be inside airplanes. But I don't know why some people give that logic. That how can God? Because when I was still going to church and all that kind of thing, the priests were always saying that how can God be? But God is too big because He created the world; He cannot be contained here. So instead, He transformed Himself into His Holy Spirit to permeate us so He can see everything. So He's omnipotent, omniscient, and all that, right? So the white European person has developed that concept of we cannot be contained in this world because if we are to study this world, we cannot be part of it. We can only control it, and if we control it, that means we have power over it, right? So let me. They create an image, and when I say they, their ancestor, the European ancestor, go back to the Plato and all these people who started, developing the idea, the knowledge, knowledge, idea, rationality, and all that kind of thing. So they were building, they were creating, they were developing an image of themselves that is beyond the image of any other human being. They were elevating themselves because they thought they had attained a certain level of reason that other human being had not. So and they could not mingle with the common mortal. They first started that within their own society, within their own European society. Started a small group of people, beginning with the Plato and all that, were the philosophers. So the philosophers were believed to be the thinkers of the society, the scientists of society, the knower, the people who knew everything. So, and they felt like they were very different because they could reflect deeply on life, on humanity, on nature, on many things that people could not. So therefore they could not be equal to the people who could not think like them. So they created now that, I don't want to call it that myth, but they created that image of themselves as superior human being because of the way they were thinking, the way they were analyzing nature, human beings and stuff like that. So, and yeah, it is, yeah, but there's a gray area there. That's why I hesitate to call it a myth, because a myth then means maybe something that, I mean, the image is a myth, but the process, what they did, is not a myth. That's the nuance I want to raise. That's why I was hesitant to say a myth. It is a myth to think that a superior human being to others because they think differently. That, I think, is a myth, because I think every knowledge is equal depending on the context. So but the fact that they developed that asili, right, that become the Otumawaso, the fact that they developed that is not a myth, it's a fact. So they created that image of themselves as being unique, special, because they can think in a way that other common human being cannot. So, and then they realized that they needed a place to gather people like Plato. He was a student of Socrates, but Socrates never wrote anything, never wrote a book, never wrote anything. Socrates was just engaging people. He will go to look at all the people who call themselves the big thinkers, the rabbis, the masters of the world who knew everything. He will go and have conversation, philosophical conversation with them. Those sophists, sophist people who think they're the wise men of this society. So Socrates' mission was to just engage them and see how much they knew, because they thought they knew everything. So, and they will now take all kind of topics and discuss politics, society, humanity, and the world, nature, all that. And the weapon, the intellectual weapon that Socrates was using was questioning. Every time he engaged those people and asked questions, those sophists who thought they knew everything because they wore those big robes like the judges wear the robes today to set them apart, because they were like the masters of the republic at the time, supposed to know everything. So Socrates would just go engage them, and then when he asked them question, they answer arrogantly, in a very arrogant way. And then when they answer, their answer actually provided more question for Socrates. Socrates said, oh, I see, but that answer actually brought another question, and Socrates asked the next question. And so the sophists, they respect it in the republic, so they answer again. And Socrates kept asking. The more those people were giving him answers to explain things that were unexplainable, the more question he had, to the point where he started exposing them all for the fraud that they were. They thought they knew because they were just on the surface. But when the question started going deeper, they started realizing that they actually didn't know anything. So that's why at some point in life, arrogance is not a good thing. Humility is very important. Socrates was very humble in terms of knowledge, because he was always saying, all I know is that I don't know anything. That was his favorite saying throughout his life. All I know is that I know nothing. And that was not really true, because he knew a lot. And that is the mark of humble and intelligent, wise people who know. And I don't want to say that I elevate myself there, but in a way, even you will start feeling that way. Like you learn so much you learn. Like that you've learned some, but then you realize, oh my gosh, everything that I learned has just contributed in raising more questions. So you're left having even more questions than answers. That is a good sign that you're in the right way, in the right direction. That's a good sign that your knowledge actually is increasing, that your knowledge is rising above the average person. But it doesn't mean you're superior to them. It's just that the things that you know now, are really, the things that you know now are really, really at another level that maybe people don't even think about at this point. Because they're still thinking at a very lower point and know that they think they know everything and then become arrogant. I was like that in Cameroon, because I was good at books and university and high school and everything. I thought Nothing can, there's nothing that I don't know. I go to conferences, to national TV, in debates. People even fear entering debate with me because I would tackle things from all directions, all perspectives. So I used to think that, like those sophists, that, I really know. But then the further I started digging into knowledge, I realized, oh my gosh, I actually don't know anything. There's just so much to know that I feel like I'm not even nowhere close to beginning. So knowledge is big. So and when you begin to feel that way, you should be proud, because then you begin to really, your brain is beginning to really be in the knower capacity, where the humility now settles in.